Welcome to the session. I am Mr.P.Y.Kumbhar. Today we want to see the introduction to value education. The learning outcome of this topic is at the end of the session, student will be able to understand the value education. The contents of this topic is first we want to see the introduction of a value education. Then what are the guidelines for the value education? Then what is the requirement content of the value education? Then basic requirement for fulfillment of this human aspiration we want to see in this topic. Now first, introduction to value education. So need for a value education is all human beings aspire for a happy, fulfilling life. So for a human being there are two important questions. First is what is my aspiration means what to do, and how to fulfill my aspiration means how to do. Now the purpose of education is to facilitate the development of clarity on the aspiration and adequate competence to actualize it. For this it is essential to understand what a happy, fulfilling and successful life is. What is really valuable for human being? What is our purpose as a human being? Understanding human aspiration or what is really valuable for a human being is the value domain. So the subject which enables us to understand this domain is called as a value education. It enables us to understand our aspiration and visualize our goals for fulfilling life and indicates the directions for their fulfillment. In relation to these issues, it also helps to remove our confusions and contradictions. In that sense, value education addresses the issue related to what to do. It is also necessary to learn the skills to actualize our aspiration. This is called as a skill domain. Now the subject which enables us to learn the skills is called as a skill development. Skill development enables us to learn the science, technology, management, and other skills for fulfilling our aspiration. In that sense, skill domain addresses the issue related to how to do. Values and skills go hand in hand. Both values and skills are required. There is an essential complementarity between the two. The priority is values, then skills. That is, first understanding what to do and then developing the skills for how to do. And of course, checking if this result into a fulfilling life. The present education system has largely become skill biased. For developing skills, the prime emphasis is on a science and technology without a base of values. Skills can only help to provide the means to achieve what is considerable valuable. It is not within the scope of a science and technology to provide a way to decide what really is a valuable. Thus, there is a strong need to rectify the situation. So, value education is a crucial missing link in the present education system. But more important, the prime need of a value education is to understand human aspiration, to discover what is truly valuable in life and work out the program for its fulfillment. Now, the guidelines for a value education. For any input to qualify for value education, the following guidelines for the content of the course are important. The first one is universal. It has to be universally applicable to all human beings for all the time and for all the places. This implies that value should not change according to nationality as well as gender. Second one is a rational. It has to appeal to reasoning and not to based on a blind beliefs. It has to be open to address that related questions. It cannot be said to do and don'ts. Next one is natural and verifiable. It has to be naturally acceptable to the human being and there need to be very provisional in nature for their fulfillment. It needs to be experimentally verifiable and not based on the dogmas, beliefs, or assumptions. It is not merely an intellectual exercise or informational transfer. All encompassing. It needs to cover all dimensions such as thought, behavior, work, and understanding, and as well as levels. Here, levels are individual, family, society, and nature of a human life. Next one is a leading to harmony. It ultimately needs to promote harmony within the individual, among human beings, and with the entire nature. Now, the next is a content of a value education. The values of an entity is its participation in the larger order of which is a part. The context is always the larger order. Value has to do with the participation of a unit in the larger order. For example, piece of a chalk is a unit. The classroom is the larger order for this unit. The value of a chalk is that it can be used to write on the blackboard for the desired functioning of the classroom. The value or role of a human being is its participation in the larger order. For example, my role in a living with the other human being is to ensure the feeling of respect in the relationship. Interestingly, I feel happy in fulfilling my role and it's fulfilling for others as well. This value is worth understanding, worth thinking about, worth living. The value of a human being is to ensure mutual fulfillment in the larger order. That is, in the entire nature, or we call as existence, but starting from within themselves, then extending in their family and the society. Hence, to understand human values, we need to study the human reality along with all that there is an entire nature existence which constitute the larger order. That means the content or scope of a study has to do all encompassing. That is, it has to cover all the dimensions of a human being, that is thought, behavior, work, and realization. It has to cover as well as all levels of a human livings, that is individual, family, society, nature, and existence. According to the content of a value education has to be first is a understand the human being, human aspiration, happiness. Then understand the goal of a human life comprehensively. Understand the other entities in a nature, the harmony in the nature existence, and finally the role of a human being in the nature and existence. Continuous happiness and prosperity as a basic human aspiration. Whatever we think, whatever we do with some end state in mind, that end state is our basic aspiration. When you ask yourself, do you want to happy? Do I want to prosperous? Do I want the continuity of happiness and prosperity? The answer is definitely yes. We have a natural acceptance for continuity of happiness and prosperity. These are our basic aspirations. Now, basic requirements for fulfillment of a human aspiration. When we try to find out if we are fulfilling the basic aspiration, it is not always so affirmative. There is a quite gap between our basic aspiration and our state of being. When we reflect on all the effort we are making, we are easily see that we are generally working for accumulating of a physical facility. The basic problem is that we have assumed that happiness and prosperity will automatically come when we have enough physical facility. This is something we need to explore in our own life. Where are we putting in our effort? If continuity of happiness and prosperity is not achieved by just accumulating physical facility, then what else is essential to do? Let's try to find out the asking these questions to ourselves. So wait here and think about this one and give the answer. So is the happiness in my family? So more due to the lack of physical facility or more due to the lack of fulfillment in the relationship. When you explore into it, you will find that the major reason for the unhappiness in the family is the lack of fulfillment in relationship and not just a lack of a physical facility. Now to look at the investment of our effort, find out how much time and effort you are investing for physical facility and how much time and effort you are investing for fulfillment in relationship. So everyone think on this one and there is a different answers. So from that one we have to find out that generally most of the time and effort is being invested for physical facility. Everyone agree? Yes. Assuming that everything is going to be fine when there is enough physical facility and there will be no happiness in the family. The problems are more due to the lack of fulfillment in relationship, and we are investing major part of our time and efforts for physical facility. So, with this discussion, we conclude that for human being, physical facility is necessary, but relationship is also necessary. In fact, by seeing this, we can understand the difference between animals and human beings. Physical facility is necessary for animals as well as for the human beings. But for the animals, it is necessary as well as adequate. But when it comes to human beings, there is a not in the case of a physical facility is necessary, but physical facility alone is not going to sufficient for the fulfillment of a human being. So once he or she gets the physical facility, he or she forgets about it and starts thinking about many other things. So we can conclude that physical facility is necessary for animals, it is necessary for human being also. However, for animals, physical facility is necessary as well as adequate. But for human being, physical facility is necessary, but physical facility alone is not adequate. So to explore this further, find out you want to live in a relationship with others, or you want to live in opposition with the others, or you believe living has to necessary in opposition with others. That is, whenever you find out, then we will find out there is a struggle for survival, survival of the fittest, and if you feel happy living with that way. A little introspection will show that out of these three, what is a naturally acceptable is the first one. But you may be conditioned to think a manner as a mentioned in the third option. If we adopt the third option, it has a significant negative implication in our life, in the family, and in the society. In a relationship, what is generally happening today is something like that. Every time when there is a fight, we want to resolve it. We start the next day with the thought that we don't want to fight today, but we fight takes place again. So getting irritated, energy, not speaking for the days, dragging each others to court, divorce, etc. are indicators of the situation in the relationship. So, for ensuring the fulfillment in a relationship, it is necessary to have the right understanding about the relationship. So, for fulfillment of a human being, physical facility, relationship, and right understanding, all three are the necessary. So, all three are required for fulfillment of a human being. One cannot be substituted for the other. So, if we investigate into the priority among these, we can see that right understanding is the first priority, fulfillment in the relationship with the human being is the second priority, and the ensuring physical facility with the rest of the nature is the third priority. So, references for these topics are